Hi everyone, Donna McElvaney here, and today we're going to be doing planned pooling in Red Heart with Love in the colorway of Echo. Really pretty colors here. The first thing we do is we look to see what size hook that it recommends. And I've noticed on a lot of these with Loves, they recommend a size K, a 6.5 millimeter. It's pretty big. But that's what's been working. I also noticed on the front of this label that it recommends a J, size 10, but I believe that is for the project that is featured. All right, so I've got my K-hook, and we're gonna get started here. I'd already tried to start a video and pulled out a huge, big, nasty mess. So I had to just decide to restart the video because it was pretty bad. I didn't want to spend a lot of my time on the video just trying to sort through a blob from the inside of that mess. It was worse than my lemon drop one was. So we're just going to begin chaining here through the first color sequence. I began with green, and then I'm going to go until the next green and make sure that that is a repeating pattern. So here is green again, and as we can look and see, this is where it repeats. I've got green, pink, gray, black, gray, pink, green. So it's green, pink, gray, black, gray, pink, and then the green again. All right, so that's my repeating pattern. So this is where I'm going to stop and turn on the green. I go in the third from the hook. That's just my preference. I believe the instructions is to go into the fourth one from the hook. I go into the third, and I'm just going to begin doing the moss stitch, which is a single crochet, chain one, skip one, single crochet, chain one, skip one, all the way across through my first sequence. So I've got one of my kitties is laying beside me today. I didn't want to move her because she's my sweet one. That is Miss Tiggs, Miss Tiggs. She is the princess. She's my husband's kitty. She likes to lay by me a lot. Whenever I settle and I'm still, I usually stay pretty still, and she likes the calmness. So she'll sit with me for however long I sit here. She's a sweet girl. All right, I'm going a little loose there, trying to keep my stitches from being muddy. Trying to keep from getting muddy legs. So far I've got 3 green, 2 pink, 2, 2, 2, and then I'm going to try and get 2 pink again because I want this side to match up with the other side, just for easy sake of it. It doesn't necessarily match up with the other one because it is going to be a different part of the sequence. So if your second color doesn't match up with the first one within the same sequence, that's okay. You just have to make sure that you keep it the same. The first one has to be 2 stitches throughout. The second one would need to be like 2 or 3 stitches throughout, however many stitches that you got it to be. Those need to remain the same. All right, so here I'm going to turn and begin my second row because that's where we began on here. So here I began with the green, so I want to begin my second row with the green. Here I got 3 stitches, and I didn't necessarily try to only get 2 stitches here, but I only got 2 stitches here. So that's actually perfect. I didn't want to do the modified puff in the turn here, so I wasn't going to go with that. But in not eating up some of your yarn in a turn to offset your stitches by 1, then you would have to offset it somewhere else in your project. So here, by only having 2 stitches in the green, that automatically offsets my project by 1. So now throughout the project, this is going to have to remain 2 green. This one on this side will remain as 3. And that is how this project is going to offset itself. so that we get the argyle pattern. On other videos, I do it differently. I will count one of the legs, one of the stitches in my turning chain on that one end. On this end here with the long tail side, that's where I would eat up one of the stitches. But in this video, I didn't have to do that, so I kind of lucked out there. As long as I don't have any issues making the 2 green on that side come through the project. All right, so here, this leg is kind of all funky here. I gotta pull it over there to clarify it. All right, so on this side I have 3 green stitches. I need to make sure that I keep my 3 green. 1, 2, but I didn't, I only have 2. If I keep going and I put my 2 pink ones here, we're going to be offset and it's not going to come out correct. I'll go ahead and show you what I mean. So if you're having problems, if you're offset by 2 or more stitches, go back and check your other stitches to see if they're landing where they should be landing at. So see, if I continued going on, then I would have 2 gray here when I needed 1 pink to at least be here, and right now I don't have that. So I need to go back. I'm going to have to tighten these up in order to get all 3 of my green ones to land on this side. So 1, even if I don't get to chain, I think I only chained 1 right there. 2, and if that's what I have to do to get all of them to land, then that's what I'll do. And as you can see, now we are offset by 1 stitch, and I will be able to come back and fit a stitch into that corner side whenever I come back to that corner. All right, so now I'm on to the pink. So offsetting it this way, the direction of it is going this way. In my other videos, the direction goes this way. Some of them it goes this way, some it goes this way. It just depends on how you offset your stitches. All right, so I'm going to continue going on here, making sure that my stitches land where they're supposed to be. So here's the gray here, and the gray is here. All right, 2 black, but it looks like I'm going to get a 3rd black one, and I only need to get 2 black ones out of it. You don't necessarily have to count your stitches. You just have to make sure that they land in the correct place. Knowing your stitch count helps whenever you get in the middle of a big blob, and if you can't really see exactly where your stitches are supposed to be, whenever they start merging like that and it gets a little confusing, I always look to the outside, the outer edges of the blob to see that they're going okay. But that can be confusing too, because here's 2 pink ones here also. So you might look at it, especially if you're new to pulling, and you might look at it and see, it's like, okay, is this going right? Because I've got 2 here and I've got 2 way over here. But this is correct. The ones that it's lining up with are right here. And really, that's, you kind of pick up on that more with experience in doing it. So I had my 2 green stitches there, because this is the side with 2. So here, these are the 2 pink ones that my next 2 pink ones are going to line up with. All right, did y'all see that corner okay? Because that was the side where I only get the 2 green stitches. All right, I'm going to go back because I just want to reinforce this a little bit better. All right, so here on this turn is where I have the 2 green ones. All right, so my 2 pinks are lining up with here and here. It can be a little bit confusing with this pink. You also have to see exactly where you're going next. So my next color is going to be green. and this is the section that it's lining up with. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on going here. Alright, so I've got my 2 green. I'm going to go into this corner, and I need to have 2 green. I chained up 2 there. I have 2 green here, and I stop and I look, and here's the green, and the 1 stitch landed here. So I've got the 2 pinks, so my 1 pink goes here, and my next one goes here. Alright, and that's perfect. The first 2 rows of pulling are, that's where, especially beginners, that's where everybody kind of messes up. It's like, where was I supposed to go here? What was I supposed to do? Where was I supposed to begin? Where do I begin my, my row? Where do I end my row? Where do I begin my second row? And those are imperative to have those exactly correct. So I also always say that it's a mirror image of each other. Your first row is going to be exactly the same as your second row. In this case, mine actually wasn't, because I only did 2 green stitches instead of 3 green stitches. So in effect, that did make it different. So here I only got 2 green stitches, and if I turn, I'm going to have 2 pink ones, and I'm lining them up with this pink. So that is wrong. They need to be offset 1. If I put those 2 pink ones right there on top of those 2 pinks, then they're going to start stacking. So then that whole row going out is going to be stacked. So here I need to have 3 green ones. I chained 2, and this is that one where I was only able to chain 1. And you can see I was still able to get it into that corner just fine. And then there's the green. So now my pink are going to be over here. But it's also merging with the other pink that's coming in. So that can be confusing. It really can be. Had I started with a different color besides the green, then it wouldn't have gotten so confusing at first, right from the get-go, right on those corners. Possibly if I would have started with the gray, then it wouldn't necessarily have done that. But then that also probably would have opened up a whole different can of worms of confusion. So we will just continue on this way. So for some, see how I've got that gray on top of that pink? I don't have a muddy leg, which is good. For some super crisp, clean ones, you'd want the top of that stitch there going into that stitch right there to actually be the pink. Not going to really stress with that so much. It's most important to not have muddy legs and to make sure that your count is correct. Make sure that your colors are lining up correctly. And turn, and then I should be starting with pink here, because this is the side where I have 2 greens. And see how that green is really overhanging the top of that pink. But that's okay. We're just going to keep going. 1 and 2. And this black is bleeding into this gray. It looks like I'm going to wind up getting almost a whole nother stitch out of that, and I don't want that. I'm going to go back here and loosen up a little bit. They were just getting to where too much of the color was starting to hang over to the next color. So that's why I went back and loosened all these stitches up to keep that overhang from happening. because it was going to start getting into some muddy legs. So I went back and corrected it, and now I loosened them up. So now my colors are going relatively smoothly. All right, this is the side where I have 3 green. I'm going to stop and look. So I've got gray. Okay, I gotta make sure that I'm looking at the right one. Gray, gray, gray. Black, black, black. Gray, gray. Pink, pink, pink. This green is going this way. And then this green is the one that's this way. Okay. I was a little concerned with how that was coming out. Chain 2, 2 pinks, 1, and it's going to be a little muddy, so I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. And 2. So, and then here's the pink here. And then here is the gray. Okay, good. Even though, like, I knew I was doing it right, that still kind of threw me off, because, like, all of a sudden I've got 3 greens that are landing on that side, and I didn't know why they were supposed to be landing the way that they were. All right, so I'm just going to keep going here, making sure that my legs are good and not muddy. And I think this is my 2 side over here, and it's not 2 side. It's not 2 stitches. I'll loosen these up. I do tend to count my stitches a lot. Okay, good. So I loosened that up enough to where they were just 2 green. And then I've got 2 pink. Chain 2 to turn, and I still got 2 pink out of it. That's really good. Stopping and looking, and here's my gray. So my gray is landing in the correct spot. My dog's belly is just a rumbling over there. It's got me a little concerned that she might need to go outside soon. Alright, and then here we are. This is the 3 green side. And with all these over here, it's almost hard to tell which side it is. I see the 3 green stitches down here, so then that reminds me that it is the 3 green side. But without that, it's really hard to tell because it's such a jumbled mess in this corner. 1, 2, and 3. I had to tighten those up to get them to come out to 3. All right. Chain 2, turn. 2 pinks still landed. Good deal. And just like the other side, my gray is going to land right where it needed to be. So I had both sides here. I had 1 pink, chain 2, 1 pink, 1 pink, chain 2, and 1 pink. So each row is basically a mirror image of each other with one stitch that is offsetting. And in this circumstance, it is the green stitch that is offset. And continue going here. So pink, pink, and pink. And her belly is rumbling quite badly. She's going to start whimpering here in a minute to go outside. 1, 2, this is my 2 green side, and I've got too much green there. And instead of loosening them up, I could always do a modified puff stitch right there too to eat up some of that green if need be. Like right in the middle of your project, you can do that as well. Like that. And 2 pinks, chain 2. I could have went back and loosened it up if I wanted to. And there's my 2 gray. That one is a split one that goes into the black. And then there's that modified green one that I had done. I just make sure that I don't split it, and I just keep going. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, good. And it's like, okay, where does my pink one land? Am I in the right spot? Yes, I am. Because it's these pinks over here that I'm following. 1, 2, and I need 3 out of this one. Alright, so I'm going to cut this video short and end it here. Two pinks, chain 2, and then I would start with the black on this side just like I did over here. Go just a little bit farther as far as I can. Dog's getting a little restless. She's needing to go outside with that rumbly belly of hers. And she's barking at me now. And then there, I'm going to have to go back and loosen that up or do another modified puff like I did at that point. So I hope that that helps you guys. She's really going to interfere. So here I have 2 on this side, and I have 3 greens on that side. Alright guys, so God bless and happy pulling. I'm going to go take care of Barbie and Ken. Alright, thanks.